Sup guys, Anime Logician here, and today we're going to be doing a video. Today's video topic is on what is fan service, and is fan service a good or bad thing? Being a part of the anime community for 19 years, you start to realize that the anime community itself has tons of division, and a lot of people tend to think on what's good or what's bad. For example, a lot of people find generic anime tropes to be bad because they're pretty much everywhere at this point. Whether it's in one show or another show, it could pretty much make the show boring or pretty much obvious to what's about to happen. Then you have harem. Harem tends to either ruin a show altogether or ruin the character development for about 2 to 3 characters or even more. And then you have fan service, which tends to basically ruin a entire show or just overall 1 or 2 characters to the point where those characters are either A, gag or joke characters, or B, characters that shouldn't be taken seriously because, well, they just shouldn't. So today we're going to figure out what's what and how things should be. Let's get started. What is fan service exactly? Fan service, material in a work of fiction or in a fictional series that is intentionally added to please the audience, often sexual in nature such as nudity. The term originated in Japan within the anime and manga fandom but has been used in other languages and media. It is about servicing the fan and giving the fans exactly what they want. Fan service can also refer by means of text, symbol, image, and sound to other stories that contain visual elements. Example, wearing a swimsuit is a perfect example of what typical fan service is. When anime and manga were translated into English by US companies, the original work was often edited to remove some of the fan service, making it more appropriate for the US audiences. Mike Tetsugawa explained this change as a result of a difference between the cultural values of Japan and the US, though this practice has since become less common and poorly regarded by anime fans. In fact, some import licenses have little more than fan service as a selling point. Types of fan service include tight clothing, panties, shirtless, shower scenes, and vertical pan shots. Also including yaoi, blushing, defrosting, female gaze version, final battles. Also including groping, gorn, which gorn is basically gore porn, justice porn, kissing, and moe. Also including scenery porn, suggestive eating, swimsuits, transformation sequences, and tsundere. Also including downward shots, gain axing, changing, exaggerated poses, and many other types of fan service. Alright, so that's pretty much concrete evidence of what fan service is. I mean, pretty much the perfect definition for anyone who doesn't know what fan service is, or for anyone that does know or wants to know more about fan service. Next up we have, is fan service good or bad? Let's get into that. Alright, so according to some people, good fan service is when fan service is really intricate and really important to the story or character development within an anime. For some people, fan service is considered bad when it's unnecessary or when it just overall ruins a show or the development to a character. You see, the general census nowadays is that it's unnecessary and distracting. Many agree that fan service tends to bring down an otherwise great series, and most would rather it just go away altogether. Some of the worst offenders practically ruin a series, taking away from the story and making characters far less likable. So it can be understandable why some people would consider fanservice altogether being bad, but there are also instances in such cases with an anime that can actually be really good. Here are some examples. I want to start off with Monogatari, as it's an amazing show and does have some excellent fan service, but it's honestly tame compared to some of the other animes I've seen within the past few years. Most of the time this anime series is rather wholesome, or even so action-packed that you don't get enough time to actually see the fan service playing through. However, the show has tons of best girls, and you're bound to fall for one of them. And when the show does decide to do fan service, it's actually glorious. And yes, I do remember the toothbrush scene. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone knows about that by now. Next up, we have an anime called Free. Yes, I added this to the list because not only do male viewers love a bit of fanservice, but so do women, and it makes sense. Both men and women, male, female, whatever, love fanservice. It's not exclusive to anyone. It makes sense. If you like oogling half-naked anime boys, can there really be a better show than Free? In case you don't know, it's a show all about swimming, and it features largely male cast and a largely homoerotic subtext, so there's hardly a scene where some dude's shredded abs are not on your screen, which is terrible if you live with your parents, but amazing for fan service purposes. In all honesty, it's like Yuri on Ice, but without all those pesky clothes in the way. I'm pretty sure women don't mind that though. Next up, we have an anime called Kaijo. And the reason why I added this to the good fanservice anime is because it's really comparable to Free in a lot of ways. For one, they both have to do a lot with water sports. One is about swimming, and the other one is about knocking off your opponent off a platform and into the water to win. Two, both have very fanservice-y things with their characters, if that makes any sense. One has to do with muscle tone of guys having like great physiques, good looking hair, great looking face, etc., etc. And then the other one is about the women who are knocking off their opponents off a platform with their chest and bottoms, and it's like they're wearing skimpy bathing suits, and it shows off a lot. Kaijo is literally centered around the sport where women hit each other with their butts in order to push their opponents out of a ring. Anime somehow managed to make sumo wrestling hot, and I don't even know why. I'm surprised at this point. Even when there's no battling, there's bound to be a lot of fan service in the air, and the worst part is that you low-key get hooked onto the story without even realizing it. And you see, that's how a good fan service anime starts off. It goes into the plot, then drives it home with the good fan service into the middle, and then it all makes sense there, It's not like some animes which are complete nonsense where they just drive into the fan service each and every single episode to the point it gets annoying. And next up, I'm going to show you a few other anime titles which kind of prove my point as to why fan service can be bad. Alright, so starting off with this list, we have Food Wars. At first glance, most would hardly expect a lot of fan service in a series about cooking, yet somehow Food Wars miraculously makes this possible. Oddly enough, the series combines its fan service with food and cooking, making it the main component of the story. So whenever characters enjoy some particularly delicious food, it's portrayed as so good that it literally knocks their socks off as well as the rest of their clothing. Judges will go into fits of pleasure over each exquisite dish, and while this gimmick is actually pretty funny, it can also get very uncomfortable considering this happens just about every time someone tastes a dish. It also gets very old pretty fast. Not to mention, I feel like this anime was dragged out a bit too long, as I feel like it was much of a cash grab, as I felt like it should have ended back in Season 2 or Season 3, as a lot of the fan service wasn't really necessary. I mean, look, sometimes it's like, they eat a certain dish and, the same thing happens over and over, and then sometimes they don't even eat anything at all, and you still get fan service, like, what the hell? Next up, we have an anime called Fairy Tail. In my personal opinion, I actually thought this anime was pretty good, you know, a 7 out of 10, and I actually did enjoy it. I actually saw the entire anime series, so it wasn't really a bothersome anime, but I had a few issues with it. Fairy Tail was once a highly popular fantasy shonen series, and in some regards, it still is. However, there's no denying that it's lost its luster over the years. There are many reasons for the series' decline, but one main factor is the obnoxious and over-the-top fan service, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree with me. Sometimes it feels as if the episodes are only focused on the fan service, and sometimes it just feels repetitive. Another reason why I dislike Fairy Tail a bit is because the fights feel as if they don't even matter sometimes. The heroes win majority of the battles while the villains don't even win at all. It feels as if the villains are weak and it makes no sense. Natsu, a dragon slayer, is able to defeat a god slayer. Gods are able to destroy humanities and entire societies. Dragons aren't even capable of doing that in one go. So to me, Fairy Tail doesn't even make any sense, and to a lot of people, it's quite irritating. And the last anime on this list is Fire Force. Fire Force is without a doubt one of the worst examples of a great anime completely ruined by bad fan service. The series saw amazing success upon release at first, but even in the early days of its run, it got a lot of backlash from fans. Despite the compelling story and lovable cast, many couldn't look past the needless gags involving the sexualization of Tamaki, the lead female of the series. The outrage her character sparked got so bad that many fans dropped Fire Force altogether. And the anime even took measures to lessen the fan service in the following season. While that certainly helped its reputation, the damage had already been done for many, and there was no going back. So to me at this point, I felt like that this gag was overused to the point where it not only ruined the character development for Tamaki, but just overall ruined specific scenes within the anime, as in fight scenes, scenes that had like depth going into characters, deeper meanings, and overall, I do love the work that the previous producer did with Soul Eater, as the same person who made Soul Eater made this, but Soul Eater didn't even have that much fan service and was way more serious compared to Fire Force. So in my honest opinion, it just feels that Fire Force was ruined due to the fan service, the incoherent ideas of what could have gone wrong with the plot and character development, and it just feels completely wrong that this anime had gotten thrown under the bus. All in all, there are points to be proven where fan service isn't always bad, but again, it's never always good. There's a certain balance, a difference between the two that people need to understand before going into the topic of fan service, and that's the idea of that, well, certain scenarios, fan service can be made to be either funny, important, or overall a entire plot, which has happened in anime, because certain animes do have a plot of where it's just, you know, fan service or all that stuff. And then you have certain points to where if an anime plot is important or is being taken seriously, then it's okay to add some fan service here and there, but for every episode and each second of each passing time within that episode, no, that is not okay. That is extremely ridiculous. Alright, next topic we're going to talk about is fan service necessary? Short answer being no. Death Note is considered to be one of the greatest anime of all time due to its points in morality and philosophy, with these points being extremely mature to the audience, as well as the plot being extremely good, and yet you don't see a sign, a point in time within this anime where there's any fan service at all, and I mean at all. Like, you can even watch the anime for yourself. There's barely, if not any, fan service. Then we have Dragon Ball Z, one of the biggest shonen anime of all time, and mainly one of the reasons why anime blew up in America in the first place. One, people don't realize this, but the framework of Dragon Ball Z is the reason why we have so many great shonen anime in the first place. People disrespect Dragon Ball Z because it's recycled plots or ideas, but let's not forget the great character development and the things that Dragon Ball Z did for anime in general in America. Then we have Cowboy Bebop, which was considered to be one of the greatest anime of all time. People loved it for its elements of jazz, classic space western, and action-centered science fiction, with a relatable, green-haired main protagonist named Spike, and I'm pretty sure we can all agree that this anime was once one of the greatest animes of all time, if not the best anime of all time. Then we have Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which pretty much dethroned Cowboy Bebop for greatest anime of all time. A lot of critiques and reviewers will say this, and a lot of people will agree. First off, FMA did a lot for animation back in the day. It was considered to have top-tier animation, top-tier plot, and top-tier character development all around. And that's why a lot of people love this anime. FMA Brotherhood pretty much got dubbed the GOAT, and it was given 10 out of 10 by a lot of people. Another thing, Brotherhood actually helped out with the manga, as it did a lot with the manga, as where the original anime did half the things with the manga, and then half the things without the manga. So pretty much, if you wanted to read the manga and get a better anime out of it, you'd probably go with Brotherhood instead of the original. You can look at all those anime, you can watch them, and I guarantee you there will be at least little or maybe even no fan service at all, and that is because these anime were never carried by fan service. They were all carried by genuine plot, good character development, and overall just being a great anime, an amazing anime. A lot of people, in my opinion, should have their standards just a bit higher and a lot less lower. I've noticed within the past 3 to 4 years that there's been a lot of isekai releases, and a lot of those isekai releases have either been complete garbage tier, and I'm not saying garbage in the good way, but just overall garbage, as in like the anime is completely irrelevant, just overall. And I'm not sure if people enjoy those types of anime, but for me, they're pretty boring. They're either completely terrible, or they're just like something I'd never watch again, and I'd only watch for maybe a review or for content purposes. But aside from that, yeah, no, fan service has never carried anything unless the fan service was actually good or part of the plot itself. Now then, as for my final thoughts, I honestly, people can watch what they want to watch. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to anyone else. I'm just saying that if you want better anime and to have like better quality stuff, you know, higher your standards. Don't delve into the trash that is isekai, because some of those animes are extremely terrible. And, you know, open your mind. Look at other genres. Look at mecha. Look at shonen. Look at rom-com. Another thing, I just believe that people should not watch an anime for the fan service, because I feel that's another thing that dilutes the anime altogether and makes it terrible, as spoken in previous parts of this video. So just, I don't know, terrible pieces of isekai anime and just overall terrible fan service ruined anime, and I believe people just need to have better standards overall for not only themselves, but for the industry itself in general, because if people want better anime or better content, then obviously give better feedback to the anime that is actually good and standard. Well, that's pretty much it for the video. I actually enjoyed making this because it took a lot of information to research, a lot of data to look at, and honestly, I do believe that this is a good topic to talk about within anime, because people just need to hear about it and see what it's about. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time here in a bit, because I have like 2 anime tier lists that I have to actually upload that I've been planning to work on. So yeah, see you guys next time. Peace.